It's fairly obvious. You clicked on this video because you're struggling on defense in college football 26. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you're going to have a complete blueprint for defenses that are going to have you locking down here in your next game. Let's jump right into it. When we talk about any blitz, you have to be able to get the quarterback on the ground. Let me show you the best way to do that. Alright, and so we're going to be in the 3-2-6 playbook here, and by the time you're watching this video, I've probably already dropped a game plan on this over at bltforlife21.com. You can go check it out for the full scheme. Alright, so when we talk about getting pressure on the quarterback, a lot of the time that means nickel double mug, okay? And so you're going to see right here, we're going to take this guy, stand right over the center. This is if they're running empty. No one really runs empty, but you're able to see how we just have more guys over their offensive line, and we're able to get pressure on the quarterback, right? So again, right here, it's the send 6. We stand right over the center, right? If they go ahead and snap the ball, we jump out here to the back, and then no one's going to be open. Mid blitz, very good for a reason. If they can't beat man coverage, you know, you're going to have just an easy opportunity. You're going to see even if right here they go ahead and block their running back now you have basically an extra player in coverage, right? You can use her whatever you want over the middle of the field. And so you're still allowing everyone to play in one-on-ones, and you're going to go and get, you know, the quarterback down on the ground pretty quickly right here. So, you know, it's certainly a very good defense, but there are ways to beat it, as I've talked about over on my Madden channel. I've talked about it a little bit over here on this brand new channel, which makes you hit subscribe over here. Uploading 3 times, might be upload to 5 times a week later on in the year. But we're going to come right back into just another passing formation here from them, because I want to show you another setup from mid blitz to make it better, okay? You're going to come in here, you're going to use the left exit 2-man stunt, okay? You're going to take this linebacker who's across from the running back, and you're going to stand directly over the center. Okay, now you're going to stand right over the center, and you're going to turbo engage. So press D-pad up, right trigger, left stick down, okay? And when they take the snap, you're spamming the A button to get off the block. Okay, boom, spam A, get off the block, and now you see how that's even versus a blocked running back. Oh, I didn't even set it up correctly because you need to drop your DN into a zone. So, I mean, you still see how we were able to get pressure, but I forgot that, yes, you need to drop this guy into a zone because this is an overload blitz. You're overloading one side of the offensive line. So, boom, we're going to take it again, and this time you're going to be able to see how that's even faster pressure just because you completely confuse the offensive line, completely throw off their block targeting, and you make it very, very easy for you to, you know, go get the quarterback down on the ground. Number 1 steps up right here, boom, steps up, we get this block shed, and then we're able to get back into coverage and do a great job, okay? So that's mid blitz. That's going to be your go-to blitz. It's just overload blitzing them. There's many overload blitzes that I'm going to talk about in the game plan, but mid blitz is really just one of the easiest setup and one you need to be using. All right, the next part that your defense is probably missing right now is the ability to stop the run. Let me show you. Alright, when we talk about the ability to shoot gaps, what are we talking about, okay? This is one of the, perhaps the easiest way to improve your run defense, okay? You're going to come into nickel 3-3 man, you're going to come into cover 6, okay? You're going to stand directly over the you're going to stand 4 yards over the guard, okay, right here, and you're going to try to loop around and meet him at the point of attack, especially on an inside run like this. So boom, loop around, and then I'm just going to dive tackle. Now, do not go running to the comments because I have 2 controllers, okay? I say this in like every defensive breakdown I do because it's so hard to control both of these guys at the same time. But if we just think about the concept here, you're going to take this guy, loop around the offensive line. You see how much slower 78 is than me? So he's going to come out to block me, but he'll never reach me because I'm faster than him, right? He's a lineman. Okay, now he's completely missed his assignment, and so now I'm able to just loop through and make that tackle. Now, you want to make sure you're dive tackling, pressing X or square, right, to make this tackle, but obviously you're going to have better control than I do. And, you know, I've done it many times in a game. I'll put a clip on the screen of me shooting a gap in game. All right, and so as you're able to see, that's all it is. It's just looping around and trying to shoot gaps, diving through, but you can see how what happens when you miss, okay? I'm right there. I don't have 2 controllers. I'm making these tackles every single time, okay? But if you miss these tackles or you're not good with this yet, this is going to be, I mean, you can give up pretty big yards on the ground. When you allow these ball carriers to get to the second level of the defense, you know, it's going to be a problem for you. So that brings me into the next run defense, okay? I do believe in shooting gaps. It's something that I'm very good at and something I really rely on a lot. But if I'm struggling with it for some reason, then this is what I would do, okay? And this is what I would recommend for maybe newer players, okay? You're going to come into, they're going to call inside zone. You're going to come right back into mid blitz, okay? You're going to come right back into mid blitz. You're going to take this linebacker who's across from the running back, and you're going to stand directly over the center, okay? You're going to stand directly over the center, and now you're going to look at the offensive player. Although you wouldn't see the offensive player in a real game, but we're just going to take a look at it here for teaching purposes. There's a flame icon, right? I'm the Mike Hardy, and then the other A-gap rusher, there's a flame icon over his head, which means the linemen are going to let him come in free, right? So if I just take the snap, run into the center, now he's going to come down and stop an inside zone run every single time, right? And that's going to happen every time, okay? If we look at the offensive player right now, you see how the flame icon's over the defensive lineman? Because I haven't moved my user. So if they go ahead take this snap, you can see how the guy that comes in free is a D-end, which isn't really a problem for them. But when you move, right, when you just simply move over here, you can now see how that flame icon has changed positioning. And so now I'm just going to run right into him, and he's going to make that tackle every time. So you can see how I say that's why it's easier for maybe newer players, because this is really good run defense against inside zone runs. And the offense, they're really, unless they're like a really smart player or they really know what they're looking at, they're not going to realize that. They're not going to realize that, hey, there's a flame icon over him, so like he's just going to come in free. Boom, and you're going to see how 3 for 3. So gap shooting is great because gap shooting works against inside and outside runs, but this technique only works against really inside runs, but it's probably way more guaranteed because you don't have to do anything with your user. All you can do, take the snap, and then he's just going to make that tackle. So that's how I would stop the run regardless of your skill level or preferred technique. All right, if you're enjoying this college football 26 defensive breakdown, I encourage you to go to my website, bltforlife21.com, and by the time this video is up, my 3-2-6 defensive game plan should be live. So go to the link down below in the pinned comment, check it out, and I can't wait to help you out on D. All right, jumping right back into it. You're tired of calling like mid blitz and all these different defenses that everyone's seen before. Here's an off-meta defensive scheme that's really going to help you out. All right, so this blitz that I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be safety blitzing, okay? You're going to come into, I mean, there's a lot of different dime defenses, dollar defenses that can do this, but right here I'm in dime rush, strong safety, overload 3. Okay, that's going to be the play. You see how the strong safety is going to walk down, and you're going to have a custom stunt here. So this is a very confusing look for the offense, okay? You even have, this is what I mean, where it's an overload blitz, so you automatically have a defensive end in a 3 rec. Now, what I would say is if you want to put like a linebacker, a pass coverage linebacker there, maybe that would be helpful for you. But all I'm going to do, I'm going to put my user in a zone assignment, okay? And I just want you to watch this play. You're going to try to get the attention of the center, whether you want to turbo engage. Okay, I'm going to get the attention of the center, and now you can just see how murky that pocket is, because there's so many guys coming from so many different directions. It's a very confusing look for the offensive line, okay? So boom, you see how maybe actually this time I'm going to try to get the attention of, and I actually bump into my guy. Dang. I kind of bumped into him. So that's why I always say like blitzes and stuff, all of this takes labbing and it takes practice. So now I think I'm going to stand directly over this center and try to get his attention, excuse me, the guard, and try to get his attention, because boom, you're going to see we get the attention of the guard, and then we allow our guy to fly in free. Okay, so that's really all it is. Then you just have to focus on having a good user. So if you take a look at the replays, what I mean, safety blitzes, no one's going to expect this or have seen this before. Okay, we're going to come stand right over number 52, if I can get onto him. Okay, now I'm going to just run inside, turn him inside, and now you see how he's late to picking up my blitzing safety. And so now my safety's already in the backfield. He's just going to collapse the pocket, penetrate, and be able to, you know, get that quarterback down fairly often. So it's all about practice. Maybe I would actually shift my D-line a little bit, although that didn't really do anything. So I'm just gonna stand right here over this guard, okay? I'm just gonna try to turn him inside, get his attention, boom, turn him inside, and then you can see that's kind of what I'm talking about, where that safety, he's gonna come down and he's gonna get in the backfield a lot quicker, just because, you know, you don't have to worry, like this lineman has to worry about blocking someone else, right? Blocking my user, blocking that defensive tackle, you move him inside and then you allow a guy to just come in free. And you could see how he doesn't even really win this rep, but he just pushes him into the quarterback. So it's just a nice blitz that you can throw in. You can do a lot of different things with the coverage on the back end of this play, but having that safety blitz, you have to think about it. It's only a 4-man rush. And against even a 5 or 6-man protection, you're going to be able to get easy pressure in the backfield just by, like we talk about all the time with custom stunts, collapsing the pocket. All right, I get it. Everyone's not a pro with quick adjustments. Here's a simple defense that can allow you to put your controller down and still guard stuff really well. All right, so that defense is called match coverage, okay? So you can go into any play from any formation, or excuse me, any formation from any playbook, and you're gonna look at this. It says match, blitz, match, or zone, blitz, match, okay? You wanna be calling a match coverage based play. Now, the key thing with this is making sure you come to your coaching adjustments. You're always gonna wanna have safety depth and close with your width on pinch. Now you wanna come into flats, curl flats, hooks. Make sure all 3 of these are on default, okay? Now I'm gonna come into a match based play. My favorite, honestly, is just cover 6. I feel like it gives you kind of the best of both worlds here, but cover 4 quarters, cover 4 palms are also good options, okay? And what I mean by put your controller down is if I just use our defensive lineman, which is basically doing nothing on a given play, you're just gonna watch this play. Is someone open? Not really. Like, you could say that you could throw that backside dig, but again, I took my user off the field and we still honestly had pretty good defense here, right? Like this swing route, no one's really looking here. A lot of the time they would just block their running back. I could have usered that if I was on the field, but this drag, this is pretty good man coverage, right? Or match coverage, because that's really what it is. It's zone coverage that converts to man as these receivers run across the field. Then you see their return route. This is a flat zone, a seam flat, right? Or excuse me, a quarter flat. He's gonna guard this. Boom, that's beautiful. And then we have our outside quarter who's gonna sit on this corner out and match onto it as he, comes across the field. Then obviously you have your backside dig, which is guarded by this soft squat. And so honestly, by the end of the play, you have pretty good defense. Well, think about if I just add my user defender now, Fisher, right? Or wherever you have, right? You're gonna see how obviously when they motion guys across or whatever, it can change how your match coverage plays. But I would say the most important part with match is understanding where you're supposed to be going and what you're supposed to be doing, okay? So boom, you can see how I'm just gonna sit on that, and that's what I'm talking about, where you have to make sure you're in the right spot, because it's like certain routes, depending on what route they call, is where your guys are gonna go. Right here, you see on the last play how this zone guards this this dig. Well, now because there's a route pushing him to his area, he's gonna come down, and so that leaves this to my user, the backside dig, which again, if you don't have a good user, you're not gonna guard. So I did say put your controller down, and good offensive players are gonna make it kind of challenging for you to actually do that, but you can still see how it look. I take this snap, now I'm sitting on the dig, and now everything's guarded. The running back check down, the dig's guarded with my user, the drag, the return, everything. Everything's guarded, and I didn't really have to make any adjustments to my defense, right? So no adjustment defense. All you have to do, have a good user over the middle, which is something you should be doing anyway on every play, regardless of what play you call. So you're just doing your job, and you're able to play lockdown defense because you're just trusting your players and, having them play in the right areas, okay? So let's see, even if we call a different play, right? Because you don't necessarily know their play every time. This time they're gonna call a different play, boom. And you could always use your switch stick too to help improve your ability. So if you're good with switch stick, you can flip that right stick in that direction and you're gonna be able to make plays, okay? So you're able to see right here, everyone's once again guarded. I switch stick onto this defender, and then I'm able to take away their wheel route if they want to throw it. Crossers guarded, running backs taken away. So match coverage, a pretty good defense that allows you to, again, put your controller down a little bit. You don't have to really make any adjustments to it. And versus a lot of different route concepts against a lot of different skill level players, you're going to be able to do a great job of taking everything away. Alright, if you enjoyed that defensive breakdown here in CFB 26, I encourage you to go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you continue to see more of my content on CFB 26. But I want to work with you one-on-one to improve your game regardless of what you're struggling with. Check out this video right here where I break down all the ways that we can work together, and I'll see you over there.